The EU is a political and economic union of member states which are located primarily in Europe.
The EU is a single market with no barriers to trade between members and a common external tariff against imports from the outside.
There is a free movement of goods, persons, services and capital. This so-called Four Freedoms.
It was created on the 1st of November 1993 when the Maastricht Treaty came into force and is governed by supranational institutions.
The EU has approximately 500 million consumers and had 28 member states at the start of 2014, of which 18 use a common currency unit, the euro.
One of the reasons for staying in the EU is that the students would be unable to take part in the Erasmus programme, which helped over 14,000 UK students study abroad in 2012 to 2013, so losing this programme would make it harder for British students to study abroad.
Another reason is that UK universities would lose £1.2 billion in research funding from the EU if Britain left. Also, British universities would get around 15% of all EU funds for research. Universities would lose significant amounts of funding, potentially meaning fees could rise.
On the other hand, leaving the EU would allow UK universities to charge higher fees for EU students and also bring an end to the UK taxpayer subsidies for them. Also, the UK may be able to attract more students from countries outside the EU.
UK citizens do not have to get visas to travel to other EU countries, which could prove to be costly due to the additional charges. 2.2 million Britons already do live abroad, so it will become harder for those people from the UK to live and work in the EU, as they will not have the right to free movement.
Also, whilst abroad, people from the UK will not have free access to healthcare provided by the EU. Just think about when you need your stomach pumped when you're on holiday with the lads. Yeah, innit?
Because a visa would be required, it would be more difficult for EU citizens to travel to the UK, which could cause a decline in UK tourism. Also, UK citizens, particularly students, would be unable to go interrailing, as the interrailing pass can only be used by European citizens or official residents.
However, non-EU citizens can get the Eurail card, which is similar to interrailing. Also, it's unlikely that UK citizens would need visas to travel to EU countries, as visas are not needed to visit many non-EU countries.
One of the economic advantages of the UK being part of the EU is that the UK is part of a free trade area with the rest of Europe, which means it's cheaper to import and export goods and services. Prices could rise if the UK leaves the EU.
By staying, the UK would keep access to the EU single market, which provides 52% of the UK's total trade in goods and services. In addition, the UK would be able to negotiate better trade deals as part of a larger and more powerful trade bloc.
Plus to the points previously mentioned, by leaving the EU, we would be able to negotiate our own trade deals with the EU that are better suited to our own needs, rather than the needs of the EU.
Leading on from what Pedro said, the UK would also need to negotiate trade deals with fast-growing economies such as China, India and Indonesia more easily than on the UK's terms. The UK would not have to pay membership fees that are estimated to cost between 5.8 billion a year and 8.9 billion a year.
The most immediate and probably least significant benefit of Brexit is the saving of about 8 billion a year in the UK's net budget contributions to the EU.
£8 billion a year may sound like a very large contribution, but in fact it's only 0.5% of the UK's GDP.
By leaving the EU, the UK would not be subject to EU regulations and laws, which would allow small and medium-sized businesses to hire more people. It has been estimated that a Brexit could cause around 1 million jobs to be created.
This would lead some people to believe that Brexit would be economically beneficial, but this is not necessarily the case. Take Norway for example. Norway is not part of the EU, but most of their trade still consists within the EU. They still contribute about €240 million annually to the EU, yet it has no seat at the EU where decisions are taking place.
Ready? Ready? You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh my god, mate, this song is too lit right now. In contrast to the points previously, no.
Jeez.
Oh, did you get that?